New Mexico CannaCast. Everything New Mexico, everything cannabis. What's up, everybody? It's Chad. Welcome to the New Mexico CannaCast, where everything is New Mexico, everything is cannabis. Today, we're really going to be talking about businesses and the struggles of opening up and running a cannabis establishment. Shanon is back with us this week, but as we go in the order, I'm going to have Josh introduce himself, and then we'll go on down the line.
Woo! Hey, how's it going, guys? Garden Gnome here, playing with the dogs down here under the table. Yep. Oh, they're licking my toes. Craziness. So anyways, welcome to the New Mexico CannaCast. And our other host, woohoo!
Hey guys, thanks for being here. I'm hanging out with these two crazies, just like I like to do. And we have a great show for you. Let's kick it off, Chad.
Cool. Sounds good, guys. Like I said, the title of this episode is going to be The Reality of Launching Your Own Cannabis Business. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into launching your own cannabis business. If you know just getting the license portion, there's a lot to do, but there's a lot more that goes in the background of that when you're operating or getting set up even that happens. So the first thing is when you get your product, when you get set up, we were really talking about this before the show. How are like the wholesales going for you guys so far? I mean, I can only speak from what we know, but not everybody's going to have the same experience as we do, obviously, from what we've experienced. So, what are like the fees? What's fair to sell? I've seen some people even ask like, well, what do I sell my wholesale for? Because you get to choose the price. There's no set price, guys. This is capitalism.
Yeah, you want my answer as much as you can get.
Now, Shanon, what have you heard or seen on that when it comes to that?
Well, let's talk about price per pound and see if you guys are in the same area as we are up here in Albuquerque. You could buy, price per pound is going anywhere between $2,200-$2,500 all the way up to $3,500 right now. And procuring product is a challenge. So, you're launching a business, you're opening your doors, and you need to have those relationships established, and you need to have product on your shelf, right? So really, in thinking about procurement, I'm giving the advisement and kind of walking through it in their shoes. And I'm thinking, if I were you, I would be developing those relationships as I'm applying and as I'm getting ready to launch, not as I'm launching, number one. And number two, it might behoove me to get with a group that already has those contacts, because a lot of people that aren't in that inner circle, and by that I do mean, and it's like I say this with love, but the inner circle from the beginning is the grandfathered businesses. It just is, right? As just Chad and Josh refer to them as the dirty 30. I'll go ahead and throw that
The dirty 30.
So you have that group, and then you have the new micro businesses coming in, right? And so your options are limited, but if you're from out of state, you need to have those relationships because you're a little bit on the outskirts. And even if you're from in-state, you need to have those types of relationships. So I'm seeing that some of these relationships entail, referral fees, broker fees, wholesale fees. That is a business, and it will cost you to get product on your shelf for the product if you go through somebody, and oftentimes you'll pay a fee, right? I was talking to a gentleman recently. He said that fees are very, very common in other states. So I'd imagine that's what's going down. And some of the people we've worked with, we've seen fees 3%, 4%, 5%. And I've heard of them going all the way up to 10%. So it just matters on who you're going to for that product, how desperate you are. I also, and I'll wrap it up here, have heard that some of the grandfathered businesses are allowing product onto shelves and they're taking a fee on the back end. I would never do that, because that could be like a bad loan from hell with a 35% markup or some crazy shit. But if you're desperate and you need product and you're going to open and you have a line out the door, there you go, right? But at the same time, I mean, it's a business. So you have to make your choices wisely, and it's all about relationships, really.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's such great points to really make on that standpoint, because people have to really keep that in mind. Yeah, there is no tax on the wholesale side, but you are going to have those fees, which, will kind of probably take place of those. So you're still going to have something in place, not just the whole price that you're looking at. So there's stuff on the back end. It's just what you're getting is the wholesale price. Whatever they decide to tack on after that, we really can't really say, because it's different. Everybody gets to set their prices. There's really no set price.
And it's not like it's a new thing, right?
Yeah.
Every state, everything. California, Oregon, Colorado, Washington, okie dokie land of Oklahoma. You know what I mean? It all happens every day. Right now, as we're speaking, somebody is making a percentage off a wholesale deal. And so, you know what I mean? It's nothing special. It's part of a deal. I mean, it's, you know, when you think about it, it's just part of businesses. Anytime, usually there's some kind of transfer or something, and a good thing, somebody gets a percentage, right? Because percentages is where everybody wins. So that's my 2 cents on it, from even Oklahoma and everything else that I've seen all over. It is. I mean, and anywhere between, yeah, you get anything in the 2 to 5% range, jump on it, get it done, write that as a go, and go to town. And I'm with Shannon. There's no way I'm going to do any kind of consignment deal. I'm with you. That's like one of them payday loans, right? Hey, here's $100. Now you owe me $4. You know what I mean? Yeah, there ain't no winning. Yeah, and especially on a retail aspect, because you have 280E. We were talking about that earlier at lunch. That, you know what I mean, that there's some movement on some banking side on the federal side, so that's something everybody to watch out too. But yeah, on the brokering and stuff and procuring product, you're gonna have to work with the dirty 30. Like I work with the dirty 30. Like I have numbers and people and whatnot. Yeehaw. You know, I'm very blessed that, you know what I mean, I have the relationships I do, and because I'm kind of a butthead sometimes. So you know, I keep it Disneyland. So yeah, anyways, just, you know, understand that's part of doing business. And if you do have that opportunity to get those relationships for something like a percentage like that, yeah, man, you need to throw some gratitude down and move on. That's all I got for you.
Yeah, I think oftentimes it's like who pays where's the fee coming from, the buyer or the seller? Both. They're going to add it onto the price per pound. And it's likely that the buyer is going to be paying it because the seller is going to add that on so we can give it to the person for finding that buyer. So I just want to say that if you're operating with anybody in the industry, that's one of the first questions you should have for them. And also it's transparency, operating in transparency. So if you're out there and you're doing these deals and you're expecting that fee and you're not mentioning it, that could feel really bad down the pipeline. So you're dealing with new people that don't understand it. They could feel taken advantage of, but it's typical business, right? And so I just wanted to you know, throw that out there, because that's not something that I knew. It's something that I learned this past year about how cannabis moves from you know, the growers into the retail operations.
Yeah. And, you know, we really want to hear from you guys. You know, what have you experienced so far? You know, what's fair, what's common? And, you know, I want to ask you guys, what do you think and feel is a fair charge, like surcharge, whatever charge you want to call it? And what do you think is common? You know, like, you know, what have we, I mean, we've experienced certain things ourselves, but what do you think, you know, would be fair?
Right.
I'll tell you what's fair. You can sell it on your retail end. That's fair enough if you're making money.
Well, and at the same time, I think it's a lot of these practices that people are learning. I've held a few classes and I've gotten some questions like, we're going to open our store. How do we even get the product? Or I have a farm in remote ass New Mexico. How do I get it onto some shelves when I grow it? So that individual needs the relationships just as bad, right? And I want to say this, we do want to hear from you guys because you're each having unique experiences, but overarching, it's a common experience. And so we need to talk about that. And as we learn more, I'm sure that things will shift, but there's also, you know, when you're gaining that relationship, feel free to ask, can I circumvent this, and go straight to that person past you and waive that fee? Yeah. The individuals creating the relationships, unless they're salary paid, should be willing to do that. And if not, then just make sure you understand the arrangement, essentially. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's not that much money, you know what I mean, on a $10,000, you know what I mean, transaction, which is a small transaction in the cannabis world, everybody.
That's tiny, guys. We hear people say, hey, I just need like 5 pounds. And we're like, only 5 pounds? Guy, you're going to run out of that really quickly.
I don't know. I don't have retail. Nobody's ran out anyways. So.
Well, of that 5 pounds. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll go to the next Biotrack. Biotrack, guys, if you don't know, is required by the state for all kinds of stuff. It's mostly just for tracking, right?
Seed to sale program. All right. So that's make sure. And you might think, oh, it means this to that. What it really means is the state wants its tax money, and it will track you down. Yeah. Like the IRS will, and take its money.
Guys, one thing you have to remember is you don't mess with the government's money. You don't do that. They will come for you. Yeah. They don't. Yeah. It's sad to say it. You can do way more worse things, but if you mess with their money, oh man, you're going to feel it. So just don't do it, and, you know, pay your taxes. So Shannon, what do you have on that, you know, with the Biotrack stuff? You know, what have you seen, you know, question wise people have had?
A lot of questions around the free version. that comes out, and lack of, training around that. And there is apparently a free version. And I can say, if I misspeak, forgive me, because Biotrack is not my specialty at all. I actually have experts that I go to called Cannatech here. I think they're, their names are Micah and Scott. They've got a whole crew, and they're, they happen to house their business in my building. So whenever a question comes up, I go to them, or I refer to them, because they know Biotrack like the back of their hand, and all the integrated softwares and all that good stuff. And, essentially Biotrack is tracking the product, not the people, but it's definitely tracking, it's a tracking mechanism for customer information. And it's essential to getting your business up and running. Like, you can't sell to a dispensary, and you can't have a dispensary ready to go without it. So it's crucial, and, take the time to learn it. Essentially, it's like part of your expenses, just like your lighting bill. You have to have it.
Yeah, guys, don't think that this is something that you could just skip out on to be cheaper. This is something required. So just to make your business easier, just go ahead and get the paid version. I understand you got to pay for it, but this is a business. You're not home growing anymore.
Yeah, I don't know, but you're going to pay for it regardless. Like the free version is probably to get it, but I know you have to pay for some other things in the world. Yeah. And then you're going to have to pay for some learning curves. I'm just thinking about all the times, and every time in the restaurant world where we changed POS systems or inventory systems or something, like they were close, but not at all. It was weird. So, so I expect that. And if you want something changed, you're going to have to talk about it next session. I don't know when Biotrack's contract is up, but I vote metric. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
And if we have an opportunity to change it, guys, we're going to have to, as an industry, come together and really push one of these softwares or whatever.
Metric.
I guess metric.
Josh has used y'all can do whatever you want. I'm just saying, I like that whole $40 a month on a web browser, and give me and I'll pay my 10 cents or whatever a plant per, tag, and give me that little gun thing.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Beep, 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 beep. You know what I mean? Good with that. Yeah, no problem.
So on the side of Biotrack, we're talking about don't cheap out on you, because you're going to have other softwares that go along with it that are third party. You have tracking softwares, you have softwares that go with your control systems of the grow that can connect to it possibly. There's ones that won't too. Like we've actually talked to companies like, oh, it doesn't work with Biotrack. We're sorry, it only works with metric. So there's stuff like that. So you have to really do your research on it and make sure that one is compatible, two, what you're using it for is going to work the way that you want it to work with Biotrack too. So there's a lot that goes into that.
Right.
Well, and I want to mention this as somebody who owns a software company. Technology is driving every business right now, every decision, and especially the cannabis industry. So the more the more savvy you are, obviously I couldn't talk there, but the more savvy you are about technology, or if you have a point person on your team that can troubleshoot and that understands this, the better. So if that's not your forte as a business owner, no worries. We can't be all things to all people. You don't have to wear that hat and pretend and go through the mud. You just find yourself somebody who can walk through that and become a go-to for your team. Because essentially it's part of your everyday life. Your employees will have to become experts. It has to do with how you care for the customer. If you're stalling, the other day I went into a dispensary and they couldn't get my ID into the system. It was a noob, and bless his heart, he was kind of freaking out a little bit and all this. And it took him literally about 7 minutes, which to me felt like 15 when you want to go get your medicine, right?
Oh yeah.
And I had a line behind me, and I thought to myself, okay, this is what it feels like to feel pain around Biotrack, right? In this little moment. So little things like that matter. And just in thinking about what's driving market decisions, it's technology right now.
Oh, and and AI is a big thing too. You got to keep that in mind too. AI is driving a lot of technology these days, and it's going to be beneficial, especially in the cannabis industry, because we're going to be able to take data a lot better and efficiently, and put it together and gather it quicker.
Bud tenders.
Your farm in the metaverse. Sorry, Josh.
Oh no, bud tenders. You better be nice, because you get replaced by a kiosk that smiles at me.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm going boop 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 boop. Got it. So you guys got to be careful, because that's you look at Walmart. That's the next big thing is the cannabis establishment, especially with federal legalization on the horizon, with the Banking Act and everything coming in. We're going to see a significant difference with everything moving from the DEA to the FDA. And everything that's going to change things night and day, what we have to do and what we can do. So we'll see.
I already know a company that does that, Chad. Lugaroo.
There we go.
They would already set up automated tellers and dispensaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you imagine that? Like Josh said, they'll be smiling at you.
Hey, give me the number. I
They're
ain't
in
scared.
Chicago, but
Hey, no. You know, we work hard in the city council to get things done, and that might be a solution to our problem of people that don't want to work in the world of anything. So, hey, I'm looking for solutions, not problems, people.
Right. So yeah, guys, I mean, that's great points. We'll talk more about SOPs, Biotrack in the future when more people kind of, tell us what's going on and what they've experienced, because we guys want to hear from you guys too. So next going on, we're going to talk about SOPs. These are important.
You want to hear the dirty word about Biotrack?
What's that?
Biotrash.
You mean the derogatory word?
Yeah. That's the dirty word. That's all I say.
The dirty word.
Keep it simple.
So SOP, Shanon, what have you really seen about, people having issue with SOPs or lack of?
I think that there's that people are making it too complicated. They're making it more complex than it needs to be. In any standard industry, banking, I was in the restaurant business for several years. We're all taking, standardized training, and we're operating from standard operating procedures. Luckily, the best way a company can understand SOPs, if they understand the regulations, then they'll get closer to their SOPs. There's plenty of people out there that have templates for SOPs that they can start with. I know Seedcrest does. I know buildmysop.com. Katie Cravens has a whole software.
How do you know Seedcrest does?
What's that?
How do you know Seedcrest does?
Oh, I just happen to know that Seedcrest provides training, and we use SOPs to train the industry.
I just like to, I had to. It was too much.
Well, I had to throw that in there, but the truth is it's not that complex. Anybody can create an SOP from the ground up. It's time consuming, right? And they're moving documents. Like your business plan is a living, breathing document that develops over time, and you've got to revisit it. SOPs too. So if you buy them off of somebody, don't throw them in a binder, hand them to your employees and say rock and roll. Stop, sit down, customize, make them for your business. Make sure they are compliant with the regulations. So get those regs out, get your SOPs out, and make sure that they mirror. It's all in there.
What do you mean Andy's frozen custard SOPs don't work?
Exactly. You can't train your employees off of the Southwest training manual, Southwest Airlines training manual.
Yeah, exactly. Think of it almost like as a script, guys. Like you're setting down the framework of how everything works in your establishment and what the employees are going to do, because you're giving the employees your SOPs. They're going to read it, and this is what they're going to go off of to have culture in your company or operate. Even the SOPs are going to tell them how to dress. The SOPs are going to tell them how to talk to customers. There's everything in there, down to steps even sometimes.
I got you a $10,000 tip. Get you a trainer, train you a trainer the way you want things to be trained, the way the culture of the world is, and go to town. That helps. You know what I mean? But you're going to have somebody to keep that trainer up to date on everything else, because they're just focused on trying not to make sure everybody's not crazy about it. I don't know. I'm a big fan of training. Like you have to have training. You have to be up to date. Like, and especially in the cannabis industry, things change today. Like this, I don't know. There might be emergency rules out right now. I don't know. We're on the podcast. We don't know.
Yeah. I used to work for Apple, guys. If you didn't know, some of you probably didn't. Most of you probably didn't, to be honest. So I used to work for Apple back in Hawaii, and Apple has such a great culture within the company, and they really focus on the customer experience, that when we would come in every day, certain things would change, and we would literally read up on it and get training that morning, and then be able to go onto the floor and talk about it. There was times where I would have to give a workshop. I would have to read how the workshop needs to go and then go out and do it. Luckily, that was kind of how the Army was. So, I was pretty much used to it. But, that's kind of how maybe, you guys can go about it. Just think about the customer experience and how you want to train your employees. So,
that's one of the main things that we discuss. And that, if I'm helping somebody with the industry, I say, your Bible is your Cannabis Regulation Act, and your obviously your regulations, the New Mexico Administrative Code.
Yeah.
But it's not set in stone. It's going to change over time. So really understanding how it works from the department down, your resources, the website. But you as a business owner and all of us should be tapping into that website right now daily.
Yeah.
because it's changing and the regulations and everything too. So like, I didn't know the quality assurance app came out, the laboratory app came out, because I've been knee deep in my own stuff here. Somebody hit me up with that. And it's like, okay, I haven't checked the website in a week. So I feel totally lost now. Right. But that whole thing, and it's off the topic of SOPs, but that's where you're going to get access to update those SOPs as you learn more. And then right when you get it, right when your employees get it and your customers are all in line, the state's going to change it on you. And so you have to understand, that's why you have to understand how it all works, is so you can go back and kind of get that going. But I'd love to hear that process, Chad, of, you know, having a standard operating procedure around how people walk in the door so they can get updated. That's an SOP right there.
Definitely. Exactly. Because I mean, we would come in, something would change. And we'd have to get educated on it. You know, Apple educates their employees very well. We were very on it about everything. Even if there's something that the company wasn't telling us, because, you know, Apple's so secretive, we would have to speculate, you know, almost like, well, this is the rumors that are going, don't tell your customers that this is it, but this is what we're figuring out, you know, blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of research and a lot of stuff that we would have to do on our own too. You know, it had to be very motivated. So, you know, to be in this industry, you still have to be motivated and put in the work. You know, if you want to be successful, this isn't stoner time anymore, guys. You know, this is a real industry. So you got to treat it like it.
Yeah, don't be stoner time. Yeah, no, you'll
So-
get eaten.
Right. So I guess we'll move on, you know, SOPs, and we'll talk about that more in the future. You know, once,
Yeah.
you know, once more people, you know, get to going, and some people are like, oh, okay, I get this. And maybe they'll make their own and give people better tips.
Yeah, no. Go to C-Trust, take some classes.
Yeah. Get educated.
That's all I got.
I've got samples I could show, but we're on a podcast.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
next time I'll show you, I'll send you a sample.
Just go take a class. You're having those fun classes. Aren't you bouncing around the state here soon?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
we're all
So go to one of those
over.
classes. Don't be a cheap person. That's all.
Cheap
Woo!
outfit.
Yeah. See,
um,
Disneyland, I'm winning.
So I guess we can go down, you know, talking about SOPs. Let's talk about equipment, you know, and not just having the equipment, it's acquiring the equipment. A lot of people are having a hard time with that. You know, Josh and I know sometimes we have a hard time acquiring certain things too, and we have to go through several companies. So Shanon, you know, what have you heard on the streets about, you know, acquiring all this equipment, it's everything for growing and essentially just operating?
Yeah. What have you heard on the equipment side on the streets?
Well, point of sale and even, you know, your Biotrack equipment, all of that is, a lot of it's backed up, back ordered. It's a bottleneck right now of the industry, meaning that it's slowing down companies' abilities to launch and so forth and so on. So like I said, I spoke with Cannatech recently, and they said that they're on it. They've got, you know, great capabilities of providing equipment, but that also they're also privy to it being backed up, right? So they may fall prey to that too. And so I think that at this point, it is a barrier and an obstacle that people are trying to navigate. And we'll just have to see how it plays out. Hopefully the demand will incur more supply, but right now demand and supply are completely off.
Yeah. And don't think, guys, that, you know, next week you might get a better deal, because next week you might be 7 months out of getting that back in its stock. So get it while you can. Right now it's a hot market. We're not the only state that's going online or that went online with adult sales, guys. You got New Jersey, New York recently, you know, started selling too, especially on the reses. So, you know, you have all these other states that are
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Woo!
Mississippi's another big one
High
that's going to
horses
go
out
online.
there right now.
Are they? Oh, we've got some scouting going on out in Mississippi, guys.
Yeah,
So watch
I ain't
out.
joking around.
Wait a minute, Josh, is that your third hat?
Yeah, you know how it is. You know how it
What
is
is
being a
happening
business
here?
owner.
Huh?
Yeah, you know how it is to be a business owner. Multiple hats. Multiple hats being a business owner. Man.
I have to say that. I'm like, well, it's like watching, he's like, and this one, and this one. Here, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start changing my glasses or some shit.
No, we were talking
The
about
viewers
multiple
on
hats.
their-
Yeah, we were talking about multiple hats when we were off the air, off the recording, and I told Chad, I was like, look, I'm gonna go throw multiple hats onto the thing and see if she picks it up. You sure did. You sure did.
Right.
Yeah, guys, and you know, and being in this industry,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to wear multiple hats. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, it's just how it is. You know,
It's also not fair that you guys have had your afternoon smoke and I'm sitting in my office. Okay,
What do
so
you
I'm just
mean?
than to keep up with you at
we're
this.
sitting in our office.
Yeah. I've been on emails and text messages from you know what I mean, like equipment, right? We got some equipment that might be 12 weeks out.
Yeah.
You know, we have ACs that we're looking. We actually ordered them last week. We just pulled the trigger on them. Boom! I had to pull the trigger on some space saver benches and stuff for a company, because
You said bench, by the way, people.
bench. Yeah. Benches, man. Not the other way. Get your mind out of the gutter, Holmes. Anyways, so yeah. So you know what I mean? There's different stuff like that. going to see what's out there, the indoor, the greenhouse world. As far as the grow world, there's a lot out there that can be backed up. So make sure you're aware, and I have meetings weekly with my equipment people, weekly, to know what's coming online, what's offline, what might be getting a little weak in the supply chain, and to let me know if I need to order or put my name on stuff. So and
you don't want it to be like a Ford, guys. So you don't want to go cheap. So
relationships, it sounds like relationships again, even with your equipment people. So that's all the industry is building relationships, and relationships take time to build, and so does the fruit of building that relationship.
Exactly.
I love my equipment guy. He's coming down. We're gonna have a good old time. Yeah, he's gonna come visit. Yeah, he's a good dude. Like I said, I talk to him weekly, actually multiple weeks. Like we text probably daily, actually. So
nice.
But I guess we'll move on. We talked more than enough about equipment. There's not too much to talk about it. We'll talk about marketing. Marketing is actually really important for any business. For people to know you're there, you can't just rely on who you are. You got to get out there and let them know you're there.
Bad Company.
They have done an amazing job at marketing. Bad Company, good job. Props to you guys by name, because your marketing is on point. Even your merchandise is on point with everything. So their Instagram posts are just, amazing. The pictures they post, the content that they have on there and everything. So congrats.
Tell me Chad didn't fanboy that.
Oh, I did. Just a little bit. But I'm a big fan of it. I really love their marketing strategy. So congrats.
Nice.
Shanon, what do you have on that?
Well, I think that some of this stuff, I think marketing is crucial for any business. Okay. There's in the sales world, there's something called conversions. Okay. So you have a market, you have top of funnel items that you do, activities, maybe community efforts, maybe you host a grand opening, right? But there's so many free tools out there right now. How do you get people interested? How do you bring them in? But then again, how do you retain them? That's that consistent marketing, right? Nobody wants a one and done customer. You want that customer to come back. You want them to spend again and again. You want predictable revenues. In order to gain predictable revenues, you have got to have marketing campaigns, marketing assets, not just written, but you've got to be, on social media. You've got to get out there in the community. You can't do it all from your phone either. In your cave, right? You really have to get out there, get brand ambassadorship, build a brand, right? So some of the challenges I've seen for people launching have been around wearing that hat or not filling that position soon enough. Put on another hat for me, a cowboy hat. I'm waiting for a cowboy hat.
No, that's where I get my boots. Don't worry, I got some boots picked out.
There you go.
We're all gonna jam, baby.
Well, and I saw one company that did a great job called Altitude. They're out in Rio Rancho. I happen to work with that company, so and it wasn't even my idea. So I'm not boasting from that perspective. I'm saying they did a soft opening where they invited their friends and family. They created an asset and this special invitation, inviting everybody that was close to them, like 30 to 50 people. They came in and the employees got acclimated to the systems. And then they did a large launch on Saturday where they opened doors to the public and they did a campaign around it, right? They had a great opening day and now they've been steady since. And not every company is going to open their doors and have a line wrapped around the building. We've passed April 1st. So that's done. Right. And so how do you create a line around your building? You can create that. And it's a numbers game. I'm a numbers person. And I love to drive people to a movement, to move people. So you almost have to look at it from that perspective. What is going to make my brand stand out? And how am I going to market that?
Oh yeah, definitely. And those are all great points, Shanon. I appreciate you, bringing that in here because you've worked on this for a long time, had your own business for a very long time. So you totally know about how the marketing environment is.
I love marketing, you guys. And one of the things, I'm like a marketing nerd. My sister is a global marketing manager at a large firm that provides cannabis testing equipment, in fact. And she knows federal marketing cannabis laws. I know local, and our gentleman that works for us, Evan Rons, he's an expert. One thing you don't want to do is put the word cannabis all over your marketing, not just yet, because you will get, I don't know, maybe you lose your followers on social media, that stuff. So you have to know the loopholes and the vocabulary and the language around the marketing. I think we're at a point now where people are like, screw it, I'll put whatever I want, but on social media, not quite yet. So I just want to mention that to everybody, because
Yeah.
you don't want to
watch your language on Facebook, guys. People are getting the ban hammer for, just simple language, even
you
like
should
smoke.
know. You should know.
Yeah, I know. I'm a multiple offender Facebook jail. Yeah, I get it all the time.
You know what? I'm a saint.
Yeah, I get the ban hammer quite a bit. It happens, whatever.
Even my haters want to hug me.
So yeah, so guys, don't think that marketing, isn't something important. There's a lot of free tools out there. You got social media, Facebook, Instagram, you have LinkedIn these days, which has been a great marketing tool. It's crazy how great LinkedIn is. So yeah, just think of that route too, guys. And also, having someone who can make you great labels. I've been actually seeing, like, on Twitter, people talking about how some places in New Mexico have trash labeling and they hate it. And, I can't agree with them more, especially with the lack of, information that needs to be on the label. So, get yourself a really good graphic designer and don't cheap out on it. You're going to make that money back, especially with having that labeling.
Your label is combined with your brand. So you do want to, be more detail oriented and have somebody that's operating that and compliant, so that you are hitting all the marks. If people are used to seeing THC percentage, and that's regulated, might as well have that on there. But there are other people doing pretty cool stuff, like having QR codes on there that lead to their websites, terpene profiles, stuff like that. So
there's even QR codes where you can take them to the testing of the cannabis. I've seen a lot of that too. Yeah. You can put a QR code on there and it'll take them to the test so they can see what it tested at, and everything in there, because it'll have some information on there, but you can give them even more information that way. There's so many ways to do it. There's even NFC stuff, guys, so look out for more NFC stuff on the way, technology side. So, but yeah, let's move on and we'll talk about the last topic of the episode. This one's actually a little bit longer than usual. It's cannabis or company culture within your company. And, it's more or less like the culture that you create within the company, not just like an all around cannabis, culture. There's always a culture. Like what I said, when I talked about Apple, there was a whole culture that was within that. And it was such a really great culture. I loved it. But Josh, I know you have more on that.
Yeah. Your culture, right? And as a business owner, everybody has their own culture and their own things. So, if you're a production person, don't grow trash. That'll help you in life. And make sure, whatever your culture is, that you back it up and kind of live that way, yourself and everything else. That'll help. But yeah, you just got to be aware of it. Like, you know what I mean? And when you're looking to work for a company, be aware of their culture, because some people are not going to want to work for some people. Like I know there's a lot of people that would definitely not like to work for me. It's that simple. They believe they would, but then they would work for me and they'd be like, yeah, that guy's culture is a little hardcore. So, yeah, but all good things. So, that, like I said, that's just my culture. And I look at it that way, as a business owner, you have the freedom to have your own culture, right? And do what you want. And that's a great thing about having this open market. We all get to figure it out how we believe it's right. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. So Shanon, what do you have on that?
Well, great points. Never heard it quite put that way. Leave it to Josh. I was watching his brain work and I was like, what's he going to say next? So that helped me a lot. And Josh has a point. I mean, right now, we as entrepreneurs of for-profit organizations and nonprofit organizations, but for-profit, we're talking about licensed cannabis establishments, we're kings of our castle, essentially, right? Meaning that you have the ability to create company culture. How do you create company culture that leads to a great customer experience, that leads to money filling your buckets, that leads to you keeping your employees happy, that leads to them bringing that culture back to a great experience, that leads to you it's a whole cycle of life. You know what I mean?
It's a bunch of hats.
There you go.
That's what that whole section is, a bunch of hats.
It's a lot of work and it takes time to develop company culture. But some of the questions that businesses can ask themselves, because I hear a lot of them like, well, we're very patient focused. Okay, great. How are you going to apply that? How does a patient know that when they walk in the door? All of these things I want everybody to be thinking about. But moreover, I want to hear from you guys what unique cultures you've already experienced, because there's a lot of them already happening out there. If you're creating your culture, I would say, okay, first of all, what is the philosophy? What's your philosophy, right? As owners, then what is the business philosophy and what's your mission statement? That stems from that business plan again, right? So starting a business without a business plan could lead to missing that step that helps you to create the company culture.
Yeah.
So I say, go back, sit there and think and envision. Holy shit, we're going to have these types of customers. This is the experience we want to give them. And this is the SOP, standard operating procedure, that we're going to put in place to create the culture. And then we're going to monitor and we're going to tweak it as we go, right? Yeah. And some people don't have a lot of time to do that, but I guarantee if you build that foundation around the culture, you will take, well, let's put it this way, you'll pay less in learning curves about not having that culture, right? Yeah. And people generally visit dispensaries that are predictable. They go back to companies that are predictable because they've taken that time, right? If somebody's sporadic and all over the place, it's likely that they're going to do business with you once or twice and probably not come back because they're looking for that kind of predictability, right? So that's what culture means to me, is when I walk in, I know what to expect. And if any changes have come up, I'm kind of in on it. And also the feeling that I get when I walk in is how I identify culture, right? So I can walk into one store and I'm like, that was like a Gap commercial. The other store, I'm like, that was like a Zoomies ad from the mall. You know what I mean? You're feeling that, right? And they're catering to certain types. That felt like I was at a soccer mom meeting, you know, and I'm like, oh, that must be more their vibe, right? So it's just the way it's happening.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So I appreciate all those, the points and everything. Cause, like a lot of people probably have a confusion of like, well, I don't know how to create this, culture or whatever, it's what you want to create it. But remember, that other people are going to be submerged in this culture. And some of these cultures, some of these people are very young, and these cultures are really going to be at a formidable time of their life when they're, becoming a young adult. So this is going to stick with them for the rest of their lives. I mean, Josh has created cultures where people come up to him to this day. I mean, I had a roommate who actually worked for Josh, and he still remembers the story that Josh told him to this day. And he still uses it in a positive manner. Like, oh, right, you're right. And, something like that, if you could create a culture, people will remember it for the whole life, and that's something that you got to keep in mind. These aren't just people. These are people that are going to go on to do other things and possibly be someone who owns a cannabis establishment one day. So, but anyway, guys, thank you so much. Actually, I forgot to talk about one thing. Kill stigma. Everybody's in charge of killing stigma. I really wanted to mention that, like this week, we took a step in the right direction here in Las Cruces to kill stigma. Josh and I and a few others and a couple other dispensary people showed up at city council here in Las Cruces. And
what was it, Colt,
it was Ruben, it was John, it was I think Sierra was there too.
What was the young cat?
Martin.
Yeah. We actually got to baptize some young cats on some public speaking to politicians in the cannabis world. So that was very special to be able to do that, because how stressful it is to do it for the first time and to represent for cannabis, like just that alone. Yeah. So that's good. You have to help kill the stigma. The young guy was what, 24?
Yeah.
22,
like 23.
Yeah,
maybe
23. Yeah. Real young cat. But he was there just to represent, and so it was nice to see that. And we've been very fortunate. We've been to different city council meetings. We have one tomorrow. We had one yesterday and Monday, talking to the city councilors, working for working groups to help change anything we can in a positive manner to not limit these businesses. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we've even got the stigma away from cannabis and alcohol. Yeah. Here in
Las Cruces, they agree with us,
100%. Yeah. I got lucky enough. I got quoted about saying, it's nothing like alcohol is nothing like cannabis, because cannabis heals, you know what I mean? So that's cool. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt people. You have to get involved like that to be able to kill the stigma. You have to be a professional. You can't go in there stonered up and stuff. We had a 30-minute conversation with a very religious man at Sunland Park yesterday's city council meeting. So good things, guys. Good things. That's all. Sorry.
Shannon, what do you have on the kill the stigma?
Well, you know that I'm always down to break the stigma. That's what we do in my line of work. And I think that the more educated we become, the more we are doing that as a community. I also think that the more we can break the stigma, the more we validate our own industry and the plant itself, right? But it's going to take, years and years and years to do, through mass re-education to really break that stigma. And I'm proud of you guys. And I always love to hear of the work you guys are doing. And then I think about too, getting out of your circle and your comfort zone will allow you to help break the stigma. And what I mean by that is, don't be afraid to talk to conservative people who hate cannabis or who just think it's the devil. Those are the people you're going to learn the most from. And those are the people you have the chance to show and normalize in front of or demystify, right? So the more of those folks you can talk to in a calm manner and just listen to them, the more chances you have of breaking that stigma. If we all stay together and cannabis is great, cannabis is great, cannabis is great, we're not breaking any stigma. We all agree on it.
Yeah.
We got to get out of there, right? And so I love you guys for that work. Thank you for doing that. And thank you to the, what did you call them? Young gentlemen, because you're getting old now.
Yeah, the young cats. Yeah,
the
the youngins, you know, the spring chickens and stuff. Yeah, very fortunate to have some very good, cool people and young people part of the company. And yeah, I take that very seriously, culture and bringing up the next generation. I was very fortunate early on, like Chad said, that I was given a shot to do something in a very corporate business franchise nationwide setting. And I was given that chance and given the direction by some great people. And yeah, I mean, so I look at that and I take that mentor very, very serious. I have other mentors now that are older than me in different sectors of my life. So, you know, I think that's part of having mentors and being, you know, mentored, and is to mentor younger people to try to help them be better sooner than you were. Right. That's all I got on that one. Yeah. So all good things.
So kill the stigma, guys. You know, we do want to be taken seriously as an industry. I'll give an example. One thing that doesn't help. I saw on Instagram, this guy was in Walmart. He had a pool noodle and he brought a glass bowl, the kind that you put like in a bong. And he was in the middle of the aisle. He put it in there, it was already packed, and he hit it in the middle of the aisle in the middle of Walmart, guys. That does not help us at all with killing the stigma. Yeah, he seems cool or whatever, but guys, that kind of stuff right there, that put us back a couple years already. And that was in Florida. So, you know, they got put back a couple years because of that. So congratulations. So yeah.
All that is an Instagram post. That is nothing more than that.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys. Well, that's it for the episode. Josh, Shannon, do you have anything before I get us out of here?
No, not really. I think that it's been a great episode. I know we've talked about a lot. And so I really would love to hear from some of our audience and some feedback about our shows, things we could do better, things we could do more of, less of, all that good stuff. We take feedback very seriously here at the NMCannaCast. And, you know, we're very grateful for our viewers, for our listeners. And I think that we're doing a great job. We could all, you know, if there's any topics you guys want to hear, hit us up. And yeah, I think we've wrapped it up, guys.
Cool. Josh.
Wow. Wonderful, guys. Well, you know, everybody wants you to win, work together. I talked to another grower earlier that's working on getting his license. And I think he was surprised how supportive I am of him, because I just want him to win. Like, you know what I mean? We're not in competition with each other, everybody. We're here for New Mexico cannabis when it all said and done. So mad love to the community, mad love to you, and let's win all together.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. We'll be here again next week. Thank you for watching the New Mexico CannaCast, where everything is New Mexico, everything is cannabis. Make sure you like, subscribe, rate us on Spotify, so that way we can pop up more if you're listening on that. So thank you guys, and we're out.
Share us with the haters.